everyone, my name is Charlotta Nilsson. I work at KTH, Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, at the Faculty of Learning. I'm an academic developer, and one of my main working tasks is promoting gender equality within education at KTH. In this lesson, I'm going to introduce some concepts concerning gender equality and how it links to Agenda 2030 and the global goals for sustainable development. Equality is based on human rights and the equal value of all. And reducing inequality is also one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in United Nations Agenda 2030. While the concept of equality is used more generally, the concept of gender equality is used to focus on the relationship between men and women. Gender is a scientific term used in gender research to describe the meanings of sex. It refers to aspects of sex that are socially and culturally constructed. Discourses about gender equality tend to be based on a binary understanding of gender, where there are two gender categories that dominate: women and men. The binary division of gender is reflected in how our societies are structured and have consequences for people's lives, regardless of whether we can identify or not with the category in which we have been divided. However, there are voices that call for a broader understanding of gender and more gender categories than just male or female. There are people who cannot or do not want to be divided into either of these two gender categories, but who are affected by the view of gender in the surrounding society. In a broader sense, gender equality can thus be said to mean that everyone, regardless of gender, not just women and men, have the same rights, obligations, and opportunities in all areas of life. Furthermore, the categories women and men do not constitute uniform groups. There are differences in conditions and experiences within these categories that are linked to other inequalities in society. Also, research shows that the meaning of being a man or a woman, as well as femininity or masculinity, is not given but varies in time and space. The view of what is considered masculine or feminine is something that is constantly changing. Gender research wants to find the reasons why women are and have been subordinate to men throughout history, and what mechanisms in society have laid the foundation for this subordination. Gender research indicates that the binary sorting principle of genders is linked to power. By looking more closely at men's and women's relationships, how norms around what is perceived as feminine and masculine have arisen and changed, and how it has affected people throughout history, we can get a more complete picture of why societies are unequal. In gender research, it is common to describe inequality as something that is being done on a daily basis, something that needs to be confirmed and repeated. It does not just exist. People do inequality in their thoughts and actions, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. In gender research, gender inequality is often described as structural, which means that it is embedded in society and organizations in complex ways. We are all part of a larger social context, and in these social contexts there are actions we are expected to do or different ways we are expected to be, even if there are no written rules about it. The whole society affects who we become, what we think and feel, and how we behave. The process of socialization shapes us throughout our lives. These unwritten rules, also called norms, often differ between different places, social contexts and cultures, and can be about anything. Gender inequality can thus be explained as part of the values and norms that influence people's actions and thoughts through the surrounding culture. Women are not by nature created to be subordinate to men, but it depends on the norms that have arisen and permeated society. And all these perceptions and expectations have been created by us humans. The work to improve gender equality is carried out with two different focuses, where one helps us to create a clear picture of different situations and conditions using measurable factors, while the other problematizes and examines what norms and values are behind the reported figures. We all have opinions and biases that we don't necessarily think about and may never acknowledge. These biases guide choices and behaviors that do not require an intent to exclude, but may anyhow create a context in which women and minorities fail to thrive or reach their full potential. They can be hard to detect, but when we are made aware of our biases, we can work for change. A political strategy for achieving a gender-equal society is gender mainstreaming, which is also a strategy for achieving gender equality pointed out by the European Union Commission as well as Agenda 2030. Mainstreaming a gender perspective is the process of assessing the implications for women and men of any planned action in all areas and at all levels, so that women and men benefit equally. The ultimate goal is to achieve gender equality. So by mainstreaming a gender perspective in the process of designing STEM MOOCs, you, as MOOC developers, will have a great potential in encouraging young girls and women to play a more active part in STEM, as these MOOCs, with gender-balanced content, will most likely give girls and women a higher sense of inclusion and belonging in STEM.